Who's that?
Welcome back to the Roundtable, everybody. I'm Allstrick Vox, and Cartoon Network has decided to kick off the week by properly unveiling Adventure Time Side Quest, releasing a poster that gives us a look at the brand new art style, along with a ton of other information such as when this is premiering, where it'll be streaming, and who's the new voice actor for Finn the Human, since Jeremy Shada is now way too old to emulate Finn's original voice in those first couple of seasons. And as always, we're gonna break it all down. I also want to talk about what the point of this series is. Yes, the new generation continues to get our heated leftovers, since everything in animation is either a reboot or a revival, but in the case of Side Quest, I believe that is very much intentional. And before we dive in, if you want to stay in the loop of all things animation, then be sure to subscribe to the Roundtable with notifications on so you never miss a video. And if you end up enjoying this video, please throw it a like, it really helps us out. A lot of Cartoon Network social media now only exists to promote new projects or collaborations, their Twitter especially. If you look at their most recent tweets, you'll only find them retweeting brand collaborations or tweeting out posters, trailers, and clips of their upcoming shows, which is mainly because all of these mergers with Warner Bros. Discovery has pretty much gutted Cartoon Network, and any social media team they had is non-existent. Like, I have a feeling whoever's managing this account probably manages other Warner accounts, whereas before, Cartoon Network had a whole team with their social media, producing original video content and everything. That said, they shared this morning, get in, we're doing Side Quest, Adventure Time Side Quest, streaming June 29th on Hulu and October 5th on Cartoon Network Global. With this is a poster of Finn and Jake on top of the mountain, with posing and composition not too dissimilar from the original theme song, with Jake looking up at Finn, who's raising his fist in the air, complemented by the Side Quest logo. Now, to the bottom right is Finn's very first sword, the one he was using at the beginning of the series, cementing the time period this show is taking place in, which is before season 1, and then I assume there'll be a little bit of overlap, like we'll have some episodes set during seasons 1 and 2. But the whole goal of Side Quest is like regular show The Lost Tapes. Ultimately, it's just a way to go full SpongeBob or Simpsons, and have these characters embark on perpetual episodic adventures that have no bearing on an overarching story. This doesn't mean we won't get any new lore or character development. I mean, looking at regular show, one of the new episodes rolling out this week is Benson's origin story, and I'm sure we'll also get new characters in Side Quest, so it won't feel as limited as you think it would off of first glance. Now, the most noticeable thing about this poster is, of course, the art style, going for a lineless aesthetic, which is something we've seen before with Adventure Time in various episodes, sequences, and promos. Now, as far as I know, yes, the show actually does look like this. We are fully moving away from the traditional Adventure Time art direction and embracing a completely new look. Though I don't believe this is going to define Adventure Time overall moving forward. I think this is unique to only Side Quest, a fresh coat of paint to help separate itself from those first couple of seasons, and ideally entice viewers who have been following Adventure Time since day one to check this series out, since, as a throwback series, it'll be naturally skewed towards younger audiences. Honestly, I really vibe with this art style change, since it'll immediately spare this series from a fate like regular show, where its vendor studio doesn't animate on paper anymore. It's all completely digital, and as a result, The Lost Tapes looks different from the main series, which is probably the biggest critique with that show, and a huge point of contention amongst fans, since some people don't really care, a lot of people really like it, and a lot of people really can't get past it. By giving Side Quest a completely new art direction, it really won't matter if it's animated on paper or completely digital, because despite past moments in the show taking on a lineless look, we still won't have a direct frame of reference for what a complete show would look like in this style. So nothing will really feel off to us in that regard, you know? We also got a Deadline article with a ton of information. The Adventure Time animated franchise is leaving the Warner Bros. Discovery ecosystem for the first time. The latest spin-off, Adventure Time Side Quest, will be released on Disney and Hulu in the US. The animated series is set to premiere on June 29th. So this is just like the wonderfully weird world of Gumball. Unlike regular show The Lost Tapes, which is airing on TV and rolling out internationally on streaming, Gumball only hits streaming over here. It's a Hulu original, and I really don't see it being broadcast on cable anytime soon. Although I am a little bit concerned because, as this article mentions, Distant Lands and Fiona and Cake were on HBO Max, which has been pulling back on kids and family animation. We haven't gotten a renewal on Fiona and Cake, and I think we're gonna find out its fate real soon at Annecy, since that seems to be where Warner Bros. Discovery makes all their major announcements now for animation. But if we're getting to a point where Warner Bros. Discovery is just straight up selling a new Adventure Time show to Hulu and Disney, not fighting at all for it to be on HBO Max, then I'm concerned that they may be done with Adventure Time entirely. Though hopefully that isn't the case, because my animation loving heart could cannot bear Fiona and Cake ended on a cliffhanger, especially after a season that a lot of people thought was lackluster. I want that show to go out on a high note, though it's entirely possible they'll keep Fiona and Cake on HBO Max since it is an adult animated show and Side Quest is a traditional kids and family show, and they'll minimize the risk of the kids stumbling onto the show. Plus, they may just see it as good business. I know that may not make a lot of sense to other people. For the consumer, everything at Adventure Time should just be in one place, like that makes the most sense. But I think from how Warner Bros. Discovery is looking at it, they can get new Adventure Time fans over on Hulu, and they're already making a bag by the show being on Hulu because they sold it to them, and then anyone who gets a hankering for more Adventure Time can migrate over onto HBO Max. But who knows? Maybe Hulu will end up buying Fiona and Cake, commissioning the rest of the series. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, back to the article. Side Quest follows young hero Finn and his magical dog best friend Jake as they embark on adventures across the fantastical land of Ooh, partying with cloud people and punching evil in the butt along the way. Finn the human is voiced by Sasha Knight, and DiMaggio returns as the voice of Jake the dog. The series will also reunite familiar characters including Ice King, Princess Bubblegum, Marceline, and Bimo, and all of them have their original voice actors. Again, it's just Finn who's getting replaced because Jeremy Shada cannot do a young Finn voice anymore.
Jeremy, how old were you when you first started playing Finn?
I was 12.
Holy cow.
Yay high, youngin'.
I've seen him grow up.
I'm assuming in any other future Adventure Time content, he'll continue to voice Finn, so long as Finn is an adult. Making Side Quest felt like making the original Adventure Time, which felt like hanging out with art school buddies making professional cartoons, said showrunner and executive producer Nate Cash. That sounds like a big sandwich of feelings, and it was. You're going to love these new adventures with Finn and Jake. Side Quest is executive produced by Cash, with Derek Botchman serving as story editor, Victor Courtwright and Niki Yang direct, Nick Cross is the art director, and Matthew Jansen is the composer. And if any of those names sound familiar, they've been involved with a ton of Cartoon Network and Adventure Time projects for quite some time. I'm actually really glad to see Courtwright on this because his movie Driftwood got canceled years ago. It would have been amazing, so I really love to see that bro is getting a win. I definitely think the bigger picture is to have an Adventure Time empire. Hopefully Warner Bros. Discovery won't screw that up by canceling any of these shows. But Side Quest will be like the new main series for kids, except again, completely episodic. The goal is to reintroduce Adventure Time to a younger generation. Now yes, they have the original series. That's not going anywhere and it has a place in this plan, but obviously a new show is going to get way more promotion, way more attention, and have a way greater chance of hooking new viewers. Plus, Adventure Time is a show that's always had raunchy humor, even in its earlier seasons. That's part of why it really stood out. But unfortunately, I think those jokes and innuendos have become a lot more taboo over the years, not just because of standards and practices, but the politics surrounding television as a whole. So this could serve as a safe entry into the Adventure Time series that won't piss off any parents who are like doing dishes and then they overhear a character saying sexy and they're like, what are you watching? I imagine there'll still be plenty of shipping moments between Marceline and Bubblegum, as even though they won't be together at this point, I don't think the Adventure Time crew has any restraint to avoid putting in any bubbling stuff. Side Quest will be the show for kids. The main series will be for teenagers. And then you have Fiona and Cake for the adults. And personally, while I am curious for Side Quest, I'm not like super excited about it. Again, right now when it comes to Adventure Time, I just want to know what's going on with Fiona and Cake. I also know there's the movie we haven't heard a peep about in years. Hopefully that'll get an update at Annecy, but if not, we may be able to assume that it's unfortunately dead. But that's about everything we know for Side Quest. And on that note, I want to know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on this? Will you be tuning in, or is it not really grabbing you? You need to see more before you make a decision. Let's get a dialogue going in the comments down below. And if you want to keep tabs on me, then give me a follow over on Twitter and Instagram at AllSharkVox and at Roundtable Vids. Consider supporting us on Patreon for just $1. And if you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable with notifications on so you can stay in the loop of all things animation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Peace!
What we do here is go back.
Need something to throw on while you draw, study, or sleep? Roundtable Rewind's got you covered. So why not take a stroll down memory lane and subscribe?
No one can tell me what to do.
See you there. Craving something new in the indie scene?
Well, if you're all gonna be such critics, why don't you suggest a better one?
It's great to have so many serialized comedy dramas, but what if we just went all in on the laughs and feel good vibes?
Move on up out of my way. I have something gotta do today. Got no time for all your games.
But I like the way you like to play. You sure you're having a moment to pay some mind to someone who could spend some time with you one day.
right now. My homie, Toonrific Tariq, is funding the pilot for his adult animated romance comedy, Hey. It's shaping up to be one of the most unique shows in the indie scene.
That's what everybody wants, a straight couple.
You can be a part of animation history by heading to the Kickstarter and becoming a backer by June 10th, 2026. The Kickstarter page also gives you the 411 on the show, the characters, the crew, and more. Check it out by clicking the link in the description.
I want to create a show that the culture is proud to call its own. I want to create Hey, and I want you to help.
Adults love it.